Hello friends, in the last video we saw how to use mean stack to create a website like this. So this is the UI of the website. As you can see, these are all the employees. You can add a new employee or maybe edit this one. Instead of John Doe, I'll be calling it as, let us say, Mary Jane. Okay, and maybe I can change the age to 50 and she is a graduate. Say save. So all this gets saved. This is the API, my friends. Here the last person is John Doe. Okay, 25 years old. Now if I refresh it, it will be Mary Jane, 50 years old. So all this is working, right? Now in today's video, I'm going to tell you about what are environment variables. Okay, so environment variables are user defined name value pairs that store configuration settings and other dynamic information either for your operating system or for a certain application. Now here we have an application, that is our website. So for this, on the UI side also we'll have environment variables, and on the service also, this is our service. For on the service side also we'll be having environment variables. So let us see them one by one. Well, as you know, I always start with the service first because that is the base on which your UI should stand. So let us understand environment variables in service side. So this is our project. Let me open the service side project. This is it. So here I have created three files. One is .environment, another is .environment.development, another is .environment.production. As the name suggests, all these files are environment files. .env contains all those variables which are common to all the environments. Like for example, MongoDB connection string. It is going to be common no matter which environment you're in. But development and production files, they have some unique things. Like for example, the port on which that Express.js server should run, that is different for development environment and for production environment. Okay. Similarly, you can have many other environments. You can have so many environments. I'll tell you typically how many environments are there. Development is there. After development, within the team, there is integration. All the team's code comes together, and there is SIT, that is system integration testing. Then user acceptance testing. So UAT environment is there. Then staging environment is there, where business analyst, SMEs, senior SMEs, all these people will be testing with real like data. It won't be real data, but it will be very much similar to the real data. That is called a staging environment. On top of it, after this, there is production environment. So your application is tested in all these environments, and then finally it goes to production environment. And at any stage, there are so many bugs that are identified, and you call it as SIT defect or UAT defect or staging defect, or sometimes production defects. So it is very rare that you get production defects, but if you get, then the team is on fire and everyone has to jump in to resolve them. So that is how many environments can be there. Now, for simplicity and just to make you understand, let us have only two environments over here. One is development environment, another is production environment. So what have we done here? Common variables we have kept in .env file, so leave that file. Development, okay, port is different. Production, port is different. Chalo, this much you got. All these three files have to be in the root folder. Okay, now I'll tell you why root folder, because otherwise we'll have to give the path. So at the moment it is not required to give their path because they are in the root folder. Okay, now first thing you need to do is, after creation of these environment files, please install a dependency called as .env. Okay, means .environment. As the name suggests, it will identify .environment files and also, read them, bring all those variables into memory while the application is being built. So that is what it does. Now, although I have said while the application is being built, don't make it a dependency. Keep it as a dependency only. Okay, I'll tell you all these things at the end, everything will be clear. Chalo, So first thing, creation of the file. Second thing, installing this dependency .env. Okay, so for this you have to write in the terminal npm install .env. That's it. Chalo. After that you come to your main file, which is index.js. In this file, from line number 5 to line number 13, this is all the code that is needed. Okay, if you want, you can take a screenshot. This is the only code required. Okay, so we have to understand only this much. So let us start one by one. See, first of all, dot environment, what it is that is being loaded, means what is dot environment, that is now in the memory. Okay, now the program knows what is dot environment. Chalo. Then what it does, it says it finds out which environment we are in. Okay, so this is a technical thing now. See, understand how this is done. Process is a built-in object at the global level in Node. So you can always say process dot something. So whenever you have any index.js file which is being run by Node, you can always write process.environment. Okay, you get this. And here, what is this? This is just a variable that I've used. Okay, where did I use it? Now this variable I used while giving the command. So while saying that node monster index.js, I'm saying node environment is equal to development. Now instead of node environment, I could have called it anything. I could have called it Amit environment or Amit. I could have called it anything. Okay, so this is just a variable, but it is a convention that people use node underscore env. And this thing, the same name is also used by many other libraries or frameworks, like even Express.js uses the same name, and that's why it's better that you use the same variable name. Okay, so node environment we have used while giving the command. So node environment is equal to development, or node environment is equal to production. So what is this development and production? Has it got to be written like this only, or I can write dv or prod? Yeah, you can write whatever you like. So basically this is just a variable which will be holding a value of a string, means there is a string value. Now of course the value can also be dv or prod, anything, and the variable name can be anything. Okay, so both of them you change as per your wish. Chalo, now what did we do? So when we are building it in the production environment, I am giving the value production to it. Okay, and notice that these two values are exactly the same as the names or the strings that are to be appended after .env to get these files. Okay, and that is exactly what I've done over here. So once we got that string value, whether it is development or production, after that what we are doing is we are saying that this .env, whatever you are. So here instead of this, I could have very easily written that const dot environment is equal to, okay, and then I'll be saying, I'll just be copying this and I'll be saying this .env.config, okay, and .env.config here also. Now I have written .env.config 2 times. Why did I do that? See, first understand this one. This is very simple. When I haven't given a file over here, then it means you load whatever environment variables are there in .env file. This is a notation, this is a convention that this environment file will always be called as .env. It won't be .environment or .myenvironment. No, it's always .env. So here I don't have to give any file name. But suppose I want to load the variables from another file which is given some other name, then I have to give the path of that file. Okay, so here what is the path? So here we are calculating that path. We are saying that .env will be followed by dot and then some string, and that string will be either development or production. Where is it coming from? From this variable, okay, which we defined over here while giving the command. Got the idea? So this is how this thing works. Basically, environment files works on the service side. Now let us test it. Let me just deploy this. You know, made const in dot environment. I'm just giving any words, you know, pardon my English over there. Okay, this is committed. Now, as we checked in our previous video itself, you know, I've shown you that my Jenkins is working. So Jenkins is always working on my VPS. Okay, I must have given the wrong password. Just a minute. Yeah, and here it has started because you know, I have had that webhooks installed, and that's why. Okay, see, if you are not remembering anything, then you know, you can always go to tutorials.shirasao.com. Here you will see mean stack. So here you have these two videos, one for development, another for deployment. I have completed all these things, and if you still don't understand, or if you feel that this is very overwhelming, then I've given you step-by-step steps over here, so you can expand every step and come to know what to do. Okay, so this is very simple. Please go through it. I have already created 2 videos on it, which are given over here. Okay, so just go this thing I'll give in the video description. I'll give this link, tutorials.shirasao.com/meanstack. Chalo, so now this pipeline must be over. After this pipeline, this pipeline is over now. That means now it is deployed. Now let me just test it. Is it working? Okay, it is working. It is returning something, means it is working. Chalo, now let us test. Let us call this Mary Jane as Tim Cook, let us say. Okay, and let them be 70 years old. Yeah. Okay, let me reload it. Yeah, Tim Cook is still there. That means, okay, let it reload. Yeah, Tim Cook is still there. That means it got saved to a database. And just to verify, now when I reload, this Mary Jane should get replaced by Tim Cook. Age should become 70. So let us see. Reloading the page. Yeah, Tim Cook, age 70. Okay, so that means the environment variables are working fine. Okay, and this is really deployed on whichever port I said for the production. So it was, I think, 3000 port for production. Let me check. So unless it got deployed on that port only, this UI would be at a loss, right? UI would be puzzled that, array, where is my service? But now it got deployed on the right port because the environment variables worked fine. Okay? So till here we saw how to use environment variables on the service side. Now let us see how to use environment variables on the UI side. So on the UI side means what? This Angular application. So let me open the code for that. This is my ems.shirasao.com. Here if you see, did I create .env, .development, .production? No. Angular handles it in a little different way. Everywhere there are some conventions and you have to follow those conventions. Node.js does it in that way. Angular does it in a little different way. What Angular says is always create environments folder within source folder. And there you have to create the files. Now Angular says that don't create a .env file for all the common variables and then various different files for every environment. Don't do that. It says by default there should be one file which is always loaded, and that should be your environment.ts. It's always environment.ts. This is also a convention. So by default what we are saying, is it a production environment? No. Then this thing has to be loaded. Okay, so always there is one file which is always loaded, and that is called as environment.ts. Now if it is a production environment or a UAT environment or a staging environment, then you have to replace that file with some other file. Like here in my case it is environment equal to production. In both these files there is very little difference, as you can check. Let me hold them like this. Okay, I hope you are able to see now. See, in both these files the oh my bad, sorry. Yeah, in both these files the difference is very subtle. production equal to true in production one and production equal to false in normal one, a default file. Here the URL is different, API URL. Here the API URL has localhost. Okay, very simple. So this is how it is. And how is it being used? So it is being used like this. In the service, I'm saying that environment.api URL. I'm not saying whether the API URL is this or this. I'm just saying that take it from the environment file. Okay, now which environment file? Now by default you will always take the environment file which is environment.ts. Okay, so this environment is just a constant which a variable which is being exported, constant variable being exported. So let me show it to you. Here it is just exporting a variable having a JSON value, that's it. Okay, and it is always, see, in the service what you are always going to write is I want environment.ts only. So environment, so importing environment from environment.ts, and then we are saying environment whatever got exported, that variable dot API URL, so that variable dot API URL. Okay, that becomes my API URL. Now you must have seen that this actually it is not using development API URL, but it is using production API URL. How? Because if you just do F12 over here, you will be able to see that it is actually pinging. अरे यार ये ना separate ही नहीं होता है, I don't know, but you will be able to see it over here that it is actually pinging the different means production environment. So then what happened? How is this thing replaced by production file? So that is done using angular.json file. So here go to projects, your project, architect, build, and in build you will be seeing configurations under build. Now here there are configurations for various environments. So here for production this is the configuration, let me minimize it. For development this is the configuration. Okay, different configurations are for different environments. Similarly you can have a configuration for UAT, staging, whatever you want, SIT. Okay, chalo. Now in the development there are least amount of options, in production there are the maximum amount of options. Similarly UAT, SIT, every environment can have different number of options. Okay, now we should focus on production environment. In production environment I have given a configuration saying that file replacements. So if you are in production environment or production configuration, then you should be replacing environment.ts file with environment.prod.ts file. Okay, similarly if I create another configuration called as SIT, then I'll be writing this file replacement in SIT also, and I'll be saying replace environment.ts with environment.sit.ts. Similarly, if there is UAT environment, I'll be saying replace it with .uat.ts. Got the idea? So this is what is happening. So when the service is now saying that call this environment variable from environment.ts, actually beforehand itself that environment.ts got replaced by environment.prod.ts, because that is the configuration that I have put. The production configuration says it like that. Okay, so this is how you on the UI side environment files are handled, environment variables are handled. Okay, I hope this is very clear to you. For your simplicity, I have also given the link to both these Git repos. So you will have these Git repos for the UI side as well as for the service side. So this is ems-api.shirasao.com means this is my service, and ems.shirasao.com is my UI. So I have given a link to both these Git repos, and both of them are public Git repos. So you will be able to see that. You will be able to see this code. Okay. Chalo, so do let me know in the comment section if you still find any difficulties. Chalo, stay tuned and please like, share, subscribe.